name's Caleb, and this is Steffi. Steffi's got a cross that's watching haunted eyes across the room. When I try to draw back the curtain, while she erases every line, Steffi and her cross go walking. They take their show out on the road, dancing and praying and chanting their song. But who God only knows. Why you stuck there in the clouds? Steffi, won't you come back down? Steffi, come back to the ground. 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 With so many around you, it's fast asleep. What you gonna do to get yourself through? Well, I'm telling you now. Steffi, come back to the ground. 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 Nice.
All right. Second episode of the East Nashville podcast. Woo. Our guest today is Caleb Christopher.
Nice.
How you doing, man?
Dude, I'm doing very well.
Thank you for being here.
Yes.
So, what's happening? Oh, also, Caleb Hayden Christopher or Hayden Christopher?
Hayden.
Okay,
like
so that's
Hayden.
important for the Spotifys.
I like Hayden.
Yeah,
That's cool.
well, it's like maybe he's...
Sounds like a Street Fighter character.
I was going to go with the classical composer, but Street Fighter, sure.
Yeah, no. Let's keep it video games. That's my home base.
All right. Okay. Make me the nerd. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
I don't know. I'm saying video games. I'm probably more of a nerd. Like classical music sounds like a more weathered and very mature soul. I'm like Street Fighter.
You saw my decanters.
Yeah, dude, they are.
I know a thing or two about
This
classical.
apartment smells of rich mahogany and several leather-bound books.
I like it. Okay, so where are you from, man? I don't know. I know your music so well, but I really know nothing about you.
I'm from Athens, Alabama.
Athens, Alabama.
So
okay.
that's Brittany Howard territory.
Okay.
Is
there just an Athens in every southern state?
I think so.
Yeah.
There's Athens, Georgia.
Yeah.
I think there's Athens, Tennessee.
There's gotta be.
There's Athens everywhere. We named everything after. I was reading something too about even Mondays and Tuesdays and Wednesday. A lot of this was all Greek. A lot of it was, I don't know.
All right.
Derived from weird shit like that. And I just think it's funny.
Wow, we're getting deep already. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. How did you end up in East Nashville?
Oh man. So, I moved to Tuscaloosa when everybody went to college, and my parents kept me home.
All right.
and tried to make me go to like a community college for the first year, and it was miserable.
Say Tuscaloosa again.
Tuscaloosa.
Damn.
And I went to Calhoun Community College. And
Say that word again.
Calhoun Community College.
Damn.
And
Kid's got a drawl.
the first day I went, I was wearing, my granddad had these like 1960s Ray-Ban Wayfarers that I found in his garage, and I had them, and they were gigantic and just beautiful. And I was like wearing them the first day on the campus, and like the guys in the baseball team started like shouting at me the F word and all this stuff, and I was just like, God, this is going to be such a great year. And it was so bad, dude. It was so bad. And then I moved to Tuscaloosa and immediately quit college. Immediately was just like, fuck this.
You know the way up, man.
Yeah.
Quit college.
Quit college. That was your first route. It was a great idea. And I just started playing in bands immediately. Like, it was the first band I'd ever been in. I had all these songs I had written and tried to record in Athens with this one dude I'd met that, had like a field recorder.
Oh, wow.
And so I was just
like a battery-powered one?
Yeah, that was the first time I'd ever like heard my voice. I used to have to like sit there and play the chord progression like 8 measures before I would sing every verse.
Oh,
so
wow.
every verse, like in my songs back in those days would have 7 verses. Super into Bob Dylan, so I had all these verses, but I had to play the chord progression like 8 times before I could get the confidence to sing it. So it would be like 30-minute songs that were silly, but
I mean, I like 30-minute songs.
But yeah, I went to Tuscaloosa and I started playing in bands, and next thing I know, like after about 6 or 7 years, I started hearing about this band called the Shakes, and they came to Alabama Shakes, and they blew up. And then the band I was in just kind of, we never did much, I was the sole writer of it, so it was weird. It was so much fun. We were young and crazy and dumb. And then all of a sudden, like, it just fizzled out, and I was 26, living in a college town, being like, what the fuck am I going to do?
Yeah.
I could sit here and I can play, I can make a living there. Totally. Like, you can play music there and make a living, but you got to be playing cover gigs every night.
Yeah. I went through that. I went through that in Boston when I was probably 24, 25. 23, 24. I had 4 gigs a weekend, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And like 3 hours is fun. You got to be on stage. But after a couple of years, it's just like, man, if I play this Goo Goo Dolls song one more time, somebody's going to get it.
See, so that's where my band, that's kind of how we broke up, was like, so we were lucky because we could literally finance an album playing during the week for we play Rolling Stones covers and shit, and I would be like, I loved it. I didn't care. I was just like, because I know life is so shitty and crazy, and you're not guaranteed anything. So like, I really enjoyed the fact that we had, like, I know that I don't want to play "Miss You" by the Rolling Stones every night, but like, if that's the only way I can play rock and roll music and electric music, like, I was totally cool with it.
Yeah.
But my band definitely got sick of it really quickly. Like, within a year or two of doing it, they were all just kind of like, man, I'm tired of this.
Yeah.
And a lot of them moved away and, did other stuff that was outside of music. But like, I missed it, and so I was like 26 and just lost the cover band gigs, didn't have an original band. I was like, what the hell am I going to do? I started working with this dude that had just moved to Tuscaloosa that I'd known for a while. We started working, and I had a writing spurt. Wrote some of the best songs that I'd ever written. Like, "On My Lips" was one of those songs.
Okay.
So that was like when I started writing these like really good songs, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like, for me, it was like I could tell that that I'd finally matured, and I'd started to find my own voice, started to find my own style, and I was super excited about it. And I was working with this guy who was like completely on drugs, and it was crazy. It was a wild time. I was drinking heavily at the time, so it was an absolute train wreck. But we recorded like 15 incredible songs, And one day he was just like, "Yo, I'm moving to Nashville," and I was like, "What are you talking about, dude? We just wrote all these songs, and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
we're about to start. You know, we're gonna get 2 guys playing. We got a bass player, we got a drummer. Like, what are you talking about?" He's like, "No, I fucking hate it. I hate it here. I'm out." And I was just like, "No, no, 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 don't do that." And he moved to East Nashville. He knew my buddy John Little that
Yep, I
works
know
at
John.
Five Spot.
Yep.
Magnetic Sound Studios. That's where I recorded the first album you mastered.
Yep.
And he knew him, and he moved here, and was just like, either move here or fuck it.
Wait a minute. The guy who works at the Five Spot with the beard, John? That's John Little?
Yeah,
Oh, damn. I didn't know that. I just knew him as John from the Five Spot.
yeah, that's John Little.
Oh, that's wild.
It is.
All right.
So we went through this whole thing of like, this crazy dude who he had known met me, and then he moved here because John had this place right under where he was at that was available in East Nashville, right off of Trinity Lane. So we moved in, and moved under Lily Hyatt.
Cool.
And
Yeah, yeah.
that was like my first go at East Nashville. So like I immediately met somebody super cool
Yep.
that like I turned me on to like her music, and I'd never heard her music, and I love it. And it was that guy though that moved here. I mean, he didn't last long. Like he was running with both sides of the candle lit, and so
Yeah.
that blew up, and it bummed me out because he was such a great guitar player, and we had really good stuff recorded.
Yeah, yeah. You guys had chemistry.
And oh yeah, and it just didn't work out. But then I met other people, and we ended up making a record, and that was that.
Now, when you said you started playing in bands, were you playing in bands primarily as a singer or a guitar player or both?
I pretty much sang with a acoustic guitar on my neck.
Okay, okay. So
I
kind of
was
both
bad,
at once.
like it's funny when I like listen back, it's like I just knew chords. I didn't even know the chords I was doing.
Yeah,
I just
yeah,
knew,
you just
I
knew
was
the
just like,
shapes.
these go together because I know this Bob Dylan song has these 3 chords in it. So I knew that they would go in the same key, but I didn't understand. And it was like getting into like these weird moments where, dude, I'm sure I know this guy does not remember. Do you know Matt Patton that plays bass in Drive By Truckers?
Yeah, kind of.
So he
I
was
know
in
of
this
him.
great band called the Dexatines, which is like huge in Alabama. And like I remember one of the first parties I ever went to. He's like there, and he's got a little drunk, and I'm like holding a guitar, and we're playing. He's like, "You know what a fucking G chord is, motherfucker?" And I was just like, "Damn it." But I was doing a G chord.
Yeah,
Didn't
yeah,
know
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
And like and then there was, a couple more instances of like running into somebody being like, "You don't know what the 1-4-5 is," and like all of a sudden I was just like, I have to learn all this.
When
And
did the world get so populated with theory dorks?
I don't know, but it happened. Like I had like prided myself on not knowing what the hell I was doing when I was young.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I feel
which
like every
as
teenager.
you do,
Yeah.
as you do.
Yeah, yeah.
And then like, after seeing people that were doing it really well and knowing like, no, they're taking it serious and they're learning what their craft, it put me in a good direction. Sometimes I always hate getting shit on or just like having somebody just tell you something in a way that you're just like, why did you have to tell me that way? But it
Honestly-
always affects me stronger
Yeah.
because it pushes me.
Yeah. Totally.
Which is not any kind of justification for that action, but like in the long run, I feel like it makes me better because
Yeah.
it angers me, and I'm just like, you know what, I am going to learn this.
Yeah.
The next thing I knew, I was like, oh, GCD is the same thing as ADE, and like just like small shit like that
Yeah,
blew
yeah.
my mind.
Yeah.
Because like I had this one time I was at the beach with my dad, and I was trying to play, some commercial had like "You Ain't Seen Nothing Yet" by BTO or some shit.
Yeah.
And so I like picked up my guitar and I found it in a key that I could sing.
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
was like, "Oh, Dad, check this out." And he immediately was like, "You're in the wrong key." He didn't play guitar, but he just knew he had pitch.
yeah,
and he
yeah.
was just like, "Yeah, nope, that's wrong." And I was like, "What are you talking about? It's wrong." He's like, "That's not right." And then so he got me to move it up, and he's like, "That's right." And then I started this argument with him of like, "No, my theory was right.
Yeah.
I was right on the theory. Like I was just in a different key, motherfucker.
Wow. That's
And, like,
wild that he had that good of sense of pitch.
yeah. Well, he was a church singer.
Oh, there you go. There you
know?
go.
That thing, the whole movement. Did you ever see that? When I was in Church of Christ,
The-
like they had the pitch harmonic.
Oh,
They
wow.
had this like circular pitch
Yeah.
harmonica thing they blow.
Master key.
And then they would just sit there and do this weird like hand movements.
Yeah, it's conducting. 1,
Yeah.
2, 3.
In the church.
4, 1.
I tried to do it once and it was miserable, dude. Oh man, that was worse than standing in front of any kind of crowd.
Man, in at the end of college, one of the things I had to do was conduct a small orchestra, and it was a nightmare. It was one of the worst things I've ever had to do. Like standing, like there was a click in their headphones. They all had headphones on, and there was a click, and they're following my hand. I'm like, what is wrong with you people?
That's so
Follow the
hard.
click.
Follow the
That's
click.
what it's for. And they're like,
Do you have the click?
yeah. And I'm trying to
So
conduct.
everybody, that's hard.
I'm trying to conduct to the click, but I'm not a professional conductor. You know, this is my first time ever conducting like a 30, 40 piece orchestra. And so in my mind, I'm thinking, oh yeah, there's people way back there. So I better do like, you know,
High.
huge so they can see me. And of course, that's just screwing everybody
Screwing
up.
the timing up and
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Right?
yeah. And then my professor came in and he did this. And
That's
they were
crazy.
perfect.
Perfect.
It was nuts.
I
It
feel
was
like
nuts.
if you see like cartoons and stuff of them depicting stuff, it's always very exaggerated.
Yeah. I think I was
like
trying
the
to
movies
do.
and
I was
stuff.
trying to do Fantasia.
You know, I was trying to be Mickey Mouse. You know,
I mean-
you're doing the whole shebang.
What else do you want to be if you're not going to be Mickey Mouse?
Exactly.
So when I think of your music, Bob Dylan doesn't register as an influence to me. I can see
Really?
like now that you say it, I can see it. But like when I think of your music, I think of David Bowie. I think of Lou Reed.
That's cool.
Um,
Keep going. I love that.
I mean,
that's great.
I got him. If I can think of these names, the guy who originally wrote Hallelujah,
Leonard Cohen.
Leonard Cohen. Yes. So
Somebody
those
told me
three,
that recently. I've never listened to him.
those three names are the ones that come to mind when I think of your music.
That's cool. David Bowie freaks me out. Like Lou Reed, I can see, but David Bowie, I don't see that at all, and that's great.
Really,
That's
because
great.
yeah, David Bowie's
Oh,
the
he
one of the.
freaks me out, man. His like the more I listen to him,
He's
I'm
dead,
just,
man. You don't have to be afraid of him anymore.
Well, yeah, I know, right? He's always in my bathroom, but like he just like to me when I could listen to something like Gene Jenny, all the way to like Fame, all the way to like his cover of like Sorrow or something. Like to me like that guy could do anything,
Yeah.
and I can't. I can do my one shtick, which is like where Lou Reed makes sense to me because I'm like, dude, I learned a lot from him,
Yeah.
like. Just 2 to 3 chords, maybe not even. There's some. What does he say? There's some quote. He's like 1 chord's good, 2 chords great, 3 chords your jazz. Something like that. Like it's like I learned, and if you really, but what's crazy is like if you listen to his songs, he's really, really creative in having 2 to 3 chords here section. 2 to 3 chords here in a section, and they're very different. And they I still haven't mastered that. I still like want to like some of his songs like I think it's New Wave or New Age, and some of his other stuff like it's some of the chord progressions. I'm just like what? Even in the Sweet Jane when it goes into the Heavenly Wine and Roses part,
Yeah.
that is weird as hell. Like do you know what part I'm talking about?
Vaguely.
So, Sweet Jane is,
Vaguely.
it's in D.
Yeah.
It's like, just sitting there, Sweet Jane. And then all of a sudden, heavenly wine and roses seem to whisper to me when you call. It makes no sense. It's very weird and slowed down. And
Man.
the way he does it, I just sit there. I'm just like, fuck. But to me, he's like this great person you can learn from that, like, doesn't know all the chords.
Yeah.
He knows the main chords, and he can put them together in a really creative way that most people can't.
Totally.
So to me, like it teaches me that it's like, yo, dude, you don't have to be Guitar George and know all the chords.
No, no.
You know, it'd be great if you did, and like you should try, and you should not cut yourself short. But at the same
It's a
time,
great Dire Straits reference, by the way.
yeah,
It's really solid.
Don't underestimate just one fucking chord.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, totally.
It's all about attitude, and it's all about, you know, being honest of whatever you're trying to get across, whatever that is.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's to me like the, you know, I don't know, but Bob Dylan got to me because, I don't know, I was super into the Doors when I was in 7th grade, and I still wasn't playing any instruments yet. All my friends were like starting in bands playing Freebird.
Okay.
And I was just like, I couldn't play guitar, couldn't make a bar chord.
People were starting with Freebird?
Oh yeah.
What?
Yeah. Okay, so do you know that guy Anderson East?
Yeah.
So his name's Mike Anderson. He was a grade above me.
Oh, wow.
At Athens High School, and our parents' best friends. He was the neighbor to them, and so I had like known him forever. I mean, one of the first bands I ever saw him in was called the Sam Jackson Band, which was just this kid's name that was in his class.
All right.
And yeah, I saw them play the talent show, and they played Freebird, and he played lead guitar.
Wow.
And that was like, they played Freebird and She Talks to Angels by Black Crow.
That's a good one.
Like, that was the thing. It was like, you just saw these like kids, like, you know, they were just buying guitars and learning songs from the music, you know, whatever guitar player you could find in Athens, Alabama that would teach you whatever. And
it's interesting how Southern rock really is a specific culture.
it is.
You know, and yeah, some of the most burning guitar players I've ever heard come out of Georgia, and they're that same way. Like, oh yeah, I guess this is a G chord. I guess this is a pentatonic scale.
Yeah.
And you're like,
That kills me.
yeah, how are you so good at this? And you don't really have a grasp on what it all is.
What you're even doing, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I've seen that so much.
Yeah.
Of people that just like, you'll be like, oh, so you're doing this, and they're just like, I don't know.
No. Yeah.
It's just, this is what it sounds right. I'm
Yeah.
just like, what?
Yeah.
I can hear shit in my head, but if I try to do it, I can't do it. I'm just like, until I figure it out, like almost mathematically of
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
oh, okay, so I'm, you know, this is my home, and this is what I'm doing over here, and that's why it makes sense.
Yeah.
Then I can control it, you know. But like, for me to just like, oh no, this just sounds cool, I'm terrible at that. But like Angus Young was that way, you know. His brother Malcolm plays all the chords, and Angus had like no idea what he was doing. I'm just like, how did you not know what chords you're around, and then you make these insane solos? Because he's going in from minor and major pentatonics, like he's bouncing around places, and then doing chromatic stuff. You know, the chromatic stuff always gets me. I think I'm like too boxy in my head to like do something like like, I was hearing some of your playing, I was just like, half of that stuff I'm like fuck, I don't know where he's doing that at.
Yeah, my playing has become really chromatic.
Dude, chromatic's cool as hell. I mean, a lot of blues is chromatic.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you hear a lot of Hendrix, and he's just doing a lot of cool shit like that. I'm like, oh fuck, how do you do that?
I think it's just getting a feel for the idea of a gap, right? That you start an idea and you know where you're going to end it.
Right.
So everything that happens in between, you can kind of get really creative with and really out there with, as long as you know what the end point is and when it is, right? So that when you feel that time gap, and all of a sudden you're like, bam, that's where I meant to be the entire time.
Right.
Yeah. And then that's kind of the shape that my guitar playing has taken in the last like 5 years, is that I start an idea and I can really kind of expand it as long as I know where it's ending.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So this is my favorite question of all guitar players, singer, songwriters. When you write a song, where do you start? Do you start with a guitar riff? Do you start with the vocal melody? What is that? And of course not every time, but what is usually the genesis of a song for you?
It is a good question. I don't know, because like I find that I would say probably I do a guitar part.
Cool.
That is way too complicated. That has like, it's like, almost doing the bass line and like it's just doing too much, but like,
Yeah.
because it's like I think all at once I hear this kind of just jumble of shit in my head, and I'm just like, oh, and
So
I'm
you
trying
feel
to
like almost the whole arrangement
right,
at once.
I'm trying to like unravel it,
Cool.
because like sometimes it's like the bass will come out first,
Yeah.
which has been a lot of fun for me. It takes me forever to lay down a bass part, forever, but like I can get it, and when I do, I really like my bass parts, and I think they're like one of my favorite albums, which is weird, is the first Smashing Pumpkins album, and Billy Corgan played like every
What is the
instrument on there.
what is
Gish.
Okay.
I love Gish. I think
Okay.
it's just great. And it has a song Drown on there that I'm like one of my favorite songs of all times. And so like a lot of times I'll just kind of feel the groove in my head.
Yeah, yeah.
And then the melody will start to happen. I'll be like, okay, this is how this needs to go.
Cool.
But sometimes, it's the opposite of where like maybe I recently made a song where I had the music for over a year and I kept trying to sing to it and couldn't figure anything out. And then one day I was high just listening to it, and just like all of a sudden I was like, what if I did the exact opposite of everything that I've been doing? And it was perfect. It
That's
was
awesome.
like everything that it needed to be. But it took me, because like everything was laid out for over a year and a half. Like I had all the guitars, all the bass, which is not normal for me.
Yeah.
It's mostly like probably like just this main melody is jumbled up, and I'm like trying to figure out, because that was the thing, is like when I started, like all my friends in high school and stuff were all starting playing guitar, and my mom wouldn't let me take guitar lessons. She wouldn't buy a guitar, so like I didn't have any way of trying to learn how to play. And my dad had a really shitty acoustic, and I tried, but that was really hard for me to play.
Yeah. I started on a really shitty acoustic too.
It's hard.
Yeah, yeah. When
Like,
the strings are like this high off the neck. Yeah.
I mean, it was never ever taken care of. It sat in the attic for over 10 years.
Yep.
Like it was a Yamaha, like $100 Yamaha that had sat in a hot attic for 10 years. It was really in Alabama, hard to play.
Yeah.
But like it, so what I thought was like, I couldn't sing yet. So I just thought, because I hadn't learned how to.
How did you learn how to sing? How did that happen?
Well, I got into Bob Dylan. Like, I know that's funny, but
That
like,
is funny. That's
like
not...
what happened to me was like I was into the Doors and I loved them, but I still didn't think anything about me playing music. And then one day, this guy that used to take me to school every day, my neighbor, he was 2 years older than me, so he took me to school, because he could drive, I couldn't, and man, he listened to like Linkin Park, Incubus. Like, I mean, stuff that like every morning I was just like, shit. And one day he played, oh man, what's that song? Hurricane by Bob Dylan.
Okay.
And I was like, dude, who is this? And he was like, Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
He was
What
like,
do you mean, who is this?
He was like, I thought you would know that because I was into the Doors.
Yeah.
And he was just, I was like, I hate Bob Dylan. I fucking hate him. Because I did at that time. I just thought he was shit, dude. I didn't listen to one lyric he wrote because I thought his voice was so bad, and I thought his guitar was bad.
Yeah, yeah.
And he was like, "Well, this is Bob Dylan," and I was like, "Well, maybe, he has some cool shit."
Maybe
so
Bob Dylan is cool.
So I go to this Bob Dylan fanatic, and I'm just like, "Hey, man, do you have a CD with the Hurricane on it that I can burn?" And he's just like, "Yeah, man," and he hands me the Rolling Thunder Review 1975 live concert.
Cool.
Changed my life. I like go home and I'm like listening to the Hurricane, doing my math homework, and I listened to it like 8 times, and I'm just like, just vibing.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I was like, all right, well, I'm going to find another song, and I'll just listen through the intros until one catches me. And there was one that was just a G chord to an F chord, just back and forth, and it ended up being Tangled Up in Blue.
Cool.
And I'd never heard like a story song like that. It freaked me out. Like I stopped doing the homework and I just kept listening to that song, and I was like, that's what I want to do. So I went, and the next day I went to Sam Goodies, or
I remember.
one of those weird stores that had CDs, and they had a Bob Dylan No Direction Home DVD.
Yep.
I watched that. I was like, I'm quitting school. I'm done.
So,
But
practical question at this juncture: what is your favorite Bob Dylan song?
Ooh, if I had to pick a favorite one, I would still say "Tangled Up in Blue." I mean,
Okay.
to me, that it just is like all encompassing of everything. When I
Yeah.
hear that song, I'm like, that's a whole life
Yeah.
in a song.
Yeah.
In the way he does, especially in that live performance. Like I hate the album version. I won't listen to it.
Okay.
I'm very weird about it. I'm just like, no, it has to be this one. Because,
I get
it's
that.
very different. Dylan plays things so differently that you won't even recognize something.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
And so, like, I'm like, specifically this one. In that whole tour, like, the way that he played that Rolling Thunder Review, it was most things he had moved, like, things that he had capoed, he had just moved them down, and just, it was a lot more, like, disgruntled and just,
Yeah.
like, cowboy band with that
Yeah.
huge dude. He had Mick Ronson from David Bowie was playing
There you go.
lead guitar for that whole tour. I don't know if you know that.
No, I don't know nearly as much about Bob Dylan as you do.
And Mick Ronson was asked, like, how's Bob Dylan? And he goes, I wouldn't know. He's never talked to me.
I've heard that.
And he
quote.
played a
Yeah.
whole tour with
Oh
them.
my god. I think my favorite Bob Dylan tune is still Love -0.
I love that. See, he has a great version of that song on there.
Really?
Oh my
Oh
god.
man, I'm gonna have to hear it then.
It's so good. That I'm telling you, I feel like that was like his like a live performance. I feel like that was like his pinnacle almost. Outside of like the live in '66 stuff that you can hear when he first went electric is super cool, but it's super druggy and super fucking crazy. But it also has like, Robbie Robertson playing lead guitar for him, and like it's really cool. But the '75 stuff, he just seems to be like he's just in God mode. Like he just like gets it, and like all of his
Kingdom
songs.
building.
Yeah.
Cool.
But he taught me how to sing because like he doesn't have necessarily the best technical voice, but like you can't shit on him and say he can't sing because he can. Like he can hit notes, he can do all this stuff.
Yeah.
But it taught me that like how do you? Because I was trying too hard before I listened to him. I would try to sing like Glenn Fry. Like I would seriously sit there and try to do Tequila Sunrise over and over. Like I just loved how he sounded, and I tried to do that song, and it was just too much for me, and I had to learn how that I had a lower gravelly voice.
Yeah.
And then my uncle showed me Velvet Underground, and I was just like, oh,
That makes sense.
this is what I need to be doing.
Yeah.
And I realized very soon, like, I can't write a song like Bob Dylan. That's not my story songs and shit like that. I can write a story maybe, but like not like I'm not a folk singer, you know.
Yeah, and
I
that's
had to
what I mean
realize
when I
that.
said like when I listen to your music, Bob Dylan is not the first person
Right.
that comes to mind.
Yeah.
But it's cool that that's your biggest influence.
Well, it was, definitely, yeah. It was just a teaching me of the craft and like letting me know that this is available if you want it, and that you can't be boxed in if you don't let it.
Cool.
And then when I started listening to more like Velvet Underground and stuff, and like Big Star, and because I love the Beatles, and so like I can sit there and like listen to all these songs and be like, okay, so like what I really can do is like I can just like create. I might not can tell you specifically exactly how I feel, but I can make you feel it. That. I can do a moody, you know, like I'm. That's kind of my niche, I guess, is just like trying to figure out how to create some kind of just idea and just like whatever.
I have the same relationship to the Beatles that you did to Bob Dylan. Like my parents growing up, they didn't really like music, which is crazy to say.
That is.
I mean, I guess my mom did. I don't know. I didn't grow up in a house where there was music playing. So like the band my mom did like was the Beatles, but she only liked the cheesy stuff. So I always associated the Beatles with I Want to Hold Your Hand, all those sort of songs.
Please me.
Exactly, where it's just like, man, this is so cheesy and dated, and like I want to listen to Nirvana.
Right.
You know? And it's like, at the time, of course, I didn't realize that Kurt Cobain's favorite band was the Beatles.
The Beatles.
You know? So, I remember, like, your experience with Hurricane was my experience with Helter Skelter. Like, hearing that for the first time and being like, what the hell band is this? This is awesome. And it's like,
it's the Beatles.
It's the Beatles. It's the Beatles. And so is I Am the Walrus. And, you know, all these other, like, insane songs where you're like, yeah, it took me until my mid-20s to be like, oh, yeah.
Happiness is a warm gun.
Yeah, yeah.
They got so many. Well, so here's my, like, thing.
Eleanor Rigby.
Oh, I know.
Jesus.
I could literally, like, I just heard Mark Maron say this on one of his podcasts, and I thought it was so true and funny. He's like, yeah, you know, if you don't like the Beatles, all I gotta say is, I feel sorry for you because you're missing out on some really uplifting shit. And I was like, dude,
is
that's
that your Mark Maron impression?
Yeah. I'm not an impressionist, but, you know, he's just this guy. He just talks like this, and he's always curmudgeon. But, yeah, that's probably horrible. Sorry. You know, I won't be an actor in my life, but I did think that. I was just like, that is the most true thing, is just like, I can't imagine, you know, not having that place in my heart for the Beatles, because, like, it uplifts me.
Oh, yeah.
And it is like a bummer. But what's weird is, like, that old music that we hate, you know, that we say, it's like, oh, please, please me, oh, hold my hand. The structure of the song is so good, though. Like, if you go back and even, like, their chord structures are really cool. It's not just 1-4-5 stuff.
Yeah.
Like, they really do add these weird chords and do all this weird stuff that I've been trying to hunt down.
Yeah, yeah.
Which other people got, you know.
The one that really, like, blows my mind, because I hated it when I was a kid, is We Can Work It Out. My mom loved We Can Work It Out. And I've hated that song since I was single digits.
Single digits.
And now it's like one of my favorite songs. And they, you know, they go into that whole like 6/8 thing out of nowhere. And
dude, it's so good.
Yeah, and it's all like kind of quarter note triplet. Yeah, it's so cool.
My uncle got me into the Beatles when I was little. He would have me watch him play Zelda on Nintendo, or we would play Super Mario 3, and he would have the Beatles playing, or we would watch Yellow Submarine.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think that's why it affects me so strongly. I do these ketamine depression treatments, and every single time I do them, I listen to Abbey Road every time. Man,
everybody loves Abbey Road.
I didn't until I started these.
Okay.
And it was, I mean, I liked some of the songs on them, but for me, like it's what these treatments do, you disassociate with your body entirely, and it's really weird and uncomfortable. But the Abbey Road, like, it's like, to me sometimes, like, when I'm in the middle of it, I'm like, this is made for this moment for me. It's perfectly for me, you know. It's like, because it takes me through the feelings I need to feel, and like get to where I need to get. And like when I listen to it, it is so beautiful. Like, so much of this, like, and I'm telling you, like, if next time you just have a random day, just go sit down and listen to it one more time with some, like, especially on vinyl, you know, you can hear more.
Yep.
And in the headphones, like, these little things they have going on in the background.
Yeah.
Like, just create.
That was really the genius of the Beatles in that time. They were the first, I would say, the first ones to have such elaborate recorded arrangements.
Yeah. They could never do that live. But it would have been fine, though. I would have totally seen them playing any of those songs stripped down.
Yeah. I think that was the most inspiring thing about Get Back. I mean, I still haven't made it all the way through.
Oh, man.
I still haven't made it all the way through.
multiple times. I couldn't help it. I got obsessed with that.
I don't have Disney Plus, man.
I did.
I'm
just
poor
for
over
that.
here.
I did it for just 1 month, and that's why I watched it.
All right.
I did it the 1 month. I was like, I'm paying you $12.
Yep.
But I'm going to watch this motherfucker like 5 times and get
I'm
going to
get $24 out of this.
Yeah. You lost. You lost, Disney.
one of the most inspiring things about that was just hearing them be like, yeah, I don't want to play. Let's just record music. I don't want to play. I don't want to play a show.
Watching them play the start off with like Get Back. I mean, he's just banging on an A chord for the longest time. He's just like, no, I really feel like we got something here. And he's just like, you're just like, whoa. And he kept having the worst lyrics. That's what really I loved it about, was watching how hard he had to like work at it.
Yeah. It made the humanized.
He had these ideas, but he just didn't have them, like fine.
Yeah.
And drawn out.
It was also nice to see them be bad at singing.
Yep.
Because you listen to a Beatles record and they're not always in tune, but it's always awesome.
Yeah.
And like when Paul screams and John sings, it's like, wow, this is so great. And seeing them not be amazing at it all the time, it's just like, it just brings it all into focus. Like, just, keep trucking at it, keep working at it. And,
that's how you do it.
Scream your ass off and eventually you'll hit it.
If you were wondering how to write a song like Get Back, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
You literally got shown how to do it.
Yeah.
That's what was, I don't know any music documentary that has been that penetrating to the band.
Yeah. McCartney 3-2-1 was kind of stupid.
I didn't see that one.
Ugh. It's basically just Rick Rubin pretending he knows anything about music.
I feel like Paul's kind of a goofball anyway.
Yeah.
He's a goofball.
Yeah.
But I love him, dude. He's one of my favorites. I don't have a favorite Beatle. If you're like, what's your favorite Beatle? I'm like, dude, don't have one. They're all my faves.
It should definitely be Paul, though.
I can't. Because like I love George Harrison and like, all the songs that he wrote that ended up being All Things Must Pass. All Things Must Pass is so good.
Yeah. While My Guitar Gently Weeps is so good.
I know.
Oh. Let's see. I have one more question for you. I'm trying to think of which one is the most important one. Oh, let's talk about your new single. That's what we should do.
Okay.
You have a new song out called Steffi.
Yes.
Who the hell is Steffi, Caleb? And what's her problem?
There is no Steffi. It was just I needed a name.
I like that. It's just such a unique name in a song. Like as soon as I heard that, I was like, Steffi. That's really. It's kind of Full Housey.
I dated a Stephanie for a long time.
All right.
And I just kind of, I think, used her name a little bit.
Yeah.
Because, like, I needed a name, and it was like one of those, like, Lou Reed things where, he has Candy, Jackie.
Yeah.
I think he has Lisa says, Candy says, Jackie says, he has all these, names. And I kept trying names, and they didn't really work. And I said Steffi, and I didn't ever call that girl that I dated Stephanie. I didn't call her Steffi.
Yeah.
I just thought, I was like, well, what about that? And I really enjoyed it. But like the song though started because I read a Kurt Vonnegut book.
Man, everybody in East Nashville, there are so many Kurt Vonnegut
Really? I haven't talked to anybody that every time I bring up Kurt Vonnegut, they're like, who? I'm just like, what?
Who? What do you mean?
It
Who
fucking
says
kills
who?
me, man. Like,
oh man, I'm fucking start lobbing heads off.
I read Sirens of Titan, and I grew up in such a religious household, and it bummed me out. Like Church of Christ was so heavy.
Oh, you grew up Church of Christ.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess you kind of mentioned that earlier. I didn't. I'm from New England, so it never all churches are churches of Christ to me.
No.
Down here, that's a denomination.
Yes.
Where I grew up.
Down here, no.
It's just a label.
Church of Christ is a non-denominational church. So
fuck does that mean?
So what it means is these Methodists, these Baptists, these Presbyterians, they're all denominations and they're bad.
Yeah.
We're a non-denominational. And we're Church of Christ, and we don't have music, and we don't have kitchens, and we don't have gymnasiums. We just have hard pews and 3 hours to tell you why you're going to hell.
They believe in hell?
Yeah.
Oh man.
super big time.
Really?
Everybody's going to hell.
Well, I mean, aren't we?
Like, I don't think that, but like, but that is what I was told, And so I grew up in this church that was like, it was just fucked.
Yeah.
Like everybody that was supposed to be the good person didn't
Yeah.
turn out to be a good person, and
Man.
all these weird things. And I was reading Kurt Vonnegut later on in my life. He had this like quote in Sirens of Titan that was just like, "What could you do for God that God could not do for itself 1,000,000 times over?" And that just hit me so hard.
Yeah.
Just like, why can't everybody feel that? Because that's how I've always felt, is like, like I've been told you're supposed to be a Christian, and a Christian means this and that, and it means helping people. But I would rarely see that, you know?
Yeah.
And like outside
Christians
of
are
like
much
stupid
better
ass
at
fundraisers,
judging people.
like a photo op fundraiser,
Yeah.
and they were helping people. But like when it came to just like being non-judgmental,
Yeah.
oh man, that was out the door. They were the first judgmental.
Yeah.
They were
Yeah.
throwing the first stones right before they walked through the door. They were already throwing stones. You're just like, it's like a video game in there. You're just like, what? My name's Hayden. It was weird, dude. And so like, I just thought, when I read the song, I was just like, man, I really wish, I could talk to the people. Cause like, I've never talked to my grandmother about not believing in God or this or that. And I just wished that I could have a conversation to say like, yo, maybe God's real, maybe God's not. Who cares? What we need is right here. If there is a God or if there isn't a God, but let's say there is, like, I'm sure he's given, or him, her, them, whatever.
Yeah.
They've given us all the power we need. Like, I'm pretty sure that it's obvious that we're here to help each other.
Yeah.
That we're not supposed to sit there and just be like, well, we'll just give it to the higher power. Like, I don't think that's what we're here for. And I think that like we lose a lot of opportunity to just be present in each other's lives, to like make shit happen. Like when I look at our world right now in America, I'm just like, why the hell, are these corporate assholes getting away with so much free money, and we are like not even able to afford rent, and like they're making more profits than they've ever made in history, and we can't even pay our rent. Like, what's going on? Like, this shit is fucked up. And so like that was where Steffi came from, was just like, come back to the ground.
Yeah.
Like, get out of the clouds. Like, stop worrying about God. Let God worry about itself. Like, are you so, not to be an asshole, but like, are you so self-centered that you think God needs you?
Yeah, that
God
God
doesn't
cares.
need you. He made the earth or whatever, like you believe in. He did all this stuff. I doubt he needs, you on a Tuesday when your friend is like, really needs you.
Yeah.
Like, be, or not your friend, somebody you don't even know.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of like the song about, when are we going to learn to be more present here? So like Steffi really didn't have, it was just a name. But it was just to get this point across of just like, we got to help each other. Like, we can't be waiting for some superpower to come in. And, if we want our government to change, we got to change it.
Yeah.
If we want the world to change, we got to change ourselves. We got to get ourselves off of, these fossil fuels and shit that we, I mean, I'm not going to get into stuff like that, fuck it, it's light podcast, but you know what I'm saying? Like, there are so many things that we do that are not good that like we could change.
Yeah. And
taking care of the earth, just basic climate change, basic things that we know are happening. Like,
it's going to be interesting to see what happens worldwide as the boomers start to pass away.
Right.
Because they've been the ones that are so protective of all of these things, of fossil fuels, of everything that's wrong with the world. Boomers are guarding with their lives. And it's like, okay, yeah, we all want to be wealthy. We all want to do well, and you can't deny that impulse, right? Because, if somebody said to you, Caleb, I'm going to give you $10 million a year to play guitar, but you have to do it with the knowledge that you playing guitar is bad for everything about the earth.
Right.
What would you do? You would play the fucking guitar. Because it's $10 million.
I don't know that I would. I would probably blow my fucking head off. I
Well,
would sit there and be like,
I guess
damn
that's
it,
the
dude.
third
I
option.
want to take this 10 million so bad, but
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
not right, dude. And I would not be able to live with myself walking away from it. So I would just, go off and be crazy for a minute.
The only thing I would say in the boomers' defense is that so many of them were the children of immigrants.
Yeah.
So, when you're the child of an immigrant, that is a big push of like, no, when you see money, you take money, So, I mean, I don't know. As we start to lose that generation, I think all the generations following are able to connect A to B. Like, oh shit, the weather's getting worse.
I don't know, man. I'm from Alabama, and I just got to say that the people that I went to high school with, like half of them are just like me, and then the other half are like watch Tucker Carlson every night.
Oh my god.
And they really do, man. Like I've heard some things from people I went to high school with that, I mean, it was enough grounds for me to be like, okay, well, I'm not talking to you ever again.
Can you imagine having a person like him in your life, just
Dude,
asking inane questions with no answers?
He was just at Kid Rock's Honky Tonk.
Well, of course he was.
Of course he was.
Yeah.
Of course he was.
If you had a friend like Tucker Carlson, you would fucking slap them so quickly.
He raises my blood pressure.
Yeah. Well, it's the question thing. He's always asking like these asinine questions as if he's making a really poignant thought. Like he's making a point through these questions that have no legitimacy to begin with, but he's stating these questions as if he's presenting a fact.
It is, man, but there's people that respond to that, and there's
It's
unfortunately
so
a large
aggravating.
number.
Yeah.
I always say this. There was my friend growing up, Ethan Gossett, in 5th grade. He had a shirt that said, "Do not underestimate stupid people in large numbers."
Isn't that a Mark Twain quote?
I don't
Albert
know, man,
Einstein?
but he had it like.
It
in
was some
5th
old guy with
grade.
white hair. It's
In
either Mark
5th
Twain.
grade, he had that
Yeah.
shirt on, and like I'm 34 and I'm still thinking about it.
Yeah.
I'm just like that. God, he was ahead of the curve.
Yeah, it's
Ethan
either Mark
Gossett.
Twain or Albert Einstein. I swear
Yeah,
to God, that's
yeah.
the quote from one of them.
But it's true. I
Oh
mean,
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, now that this podcast is not viewed by Republicans, climate change deniers,
We don't know. Who knows who listens to
We've
it?
alienated the Christian crowd. Now that we've destroyed all avenues of revenue, I think we should hear a couple of your songs.
Let's do it.
All right. Thank you for being here, Caleb.
Thank you for having me, Frasco.
All right.
Speeding through the space of nothing, barely know the face that's looking in the mirror back at me. But everything is lost, it's found. I had you, now you're not around. And after all those ups and downs, I see you, you're nothing but a sound on my lips. When it was time, you knew I wouldn't. Both of my shoes couldn't put a foot in. I couldn't make myself leave. But everything that's lost gets found. I had you, now you're not around. And after all those ups and downs, I see you, you're nothing but a sound on my lips. where sunlight was dripping on my face. In the fields, my eyes soaked in fields till my eyes. Come over and touch me and comfort me now. Oh, whoa, comfort me now. Oh, whoa, comfort me now. Comfort me now. Thank you.